Welcome back. So far, we discussed about various retail models, and also we had a huge discussion with reference to online mode of retailing as well as offline mode of retailing. But let us try to understand the fact that there is always a kind of competition that's happening between these two forms of retailing, that is the online as well as the offline. And even though we say that the brands, they try to be present with an omni-channel retail strategy, so that they are there in the physical form of retailing as well as in the online form of retailing, still there is a kind of difference that we observe between their presence in offline and online. Even though we talk about consistency, even though we talk about delivering a unified experience across the channels, still we need to understand the fact that there is a scope of difference between these two forms of retailing. And if you look at it, many retailers, they are finding different ways to unify their strategies. Now the debate is over the physical locations of these stores across various geographies against the online stores. This has been going on for quite some time, and if you look at it closely, there are several key factors that actually fuels this particular debate. The first one is cost efficiency. If you look at it, definitely managing an online store is less expensive when compared to managing physical stores. When I say this cost difference, sometimes it affects your entire operations. Having given the choice of virtual stores claiming a much better cost efficiency compared to the physical stores, definitely there is an advantage for the virtual retailers or e-retailers. On the other side, the preference of consumers, especially in markets like India, where the consumers give a lot of importance for the touch and feel that they experience while buying the product, or rather sometimes they associate it with the believability or the trust that they have in their purchases. The consumer preferences are also split between the online stores and the offline stores. Maybe they are quite comfortable buying products that are familiar, and they are quite comfortable that they trust a particular brand and sometimes even loyal to those brands, and they keep buying it virtually. But anything that they want to try for the very first time, or any product where they perceive a higher risk, probably they end up buying from the physical stores. So this choice difference or preferences that are split across virtual and physical stores is another important factor that we need to consider while debating whether online store is better or offline store is better. The third one is the relative permanence of online brands. Another important thing, the online brands, how far they are being trusted, how far they deliver the superior experience, or delivering things to the expectations of the customers, thereby they keeping the customers satisfied and delighted. That is another important factor. Then the tangible interactions, where the touching of the products, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes the physical stores offer a maximum number of senses being engaged in the consumption process or purchase process. Maybe that is restricted when consumers make purchases in the online store. And the last one is the ease and efficiency of taking products to markets. Definitely, the virtual products can display the images of the product. Sometimes even they can make a video of demonstration of the product and then they can post it on their website. That makes it very easy to actually add any number of products to their website. But when it comes to offline store, then space comes as a big constraint, because in retail, space is money. So I would like to probably optimize the space utilization and thereby trying to give the customers a better experience, and at the same time I want to limit the disappointments the customers may have because of the non-availability of the product. So these are the key factors which would probably be quoted as the major factors when the debate between the online and offline stores, which one is better and which is strategically achieving the fit, comes into the stage. And how this online channel different from the offline channel? Of course, we can give multiple reasons for that to take that into consideration. The first one is the asymmetric information. Sometimes you find informations that are little outdated. I won't say totally outdated, little outdated when compared to offline stores, because the online stores may not have updated products. As I told you in my previous session, sometimes we find the latest products only in the offline stores, strategically being stocked by the retailer, and online stores may not have the recent launches. Yes, definitely product information may vary between online and offline store. The next one is the delay between purchase and consumption. If you have any urge for consumption of the products, definitely offline is the best bet for you, because the online will take some time. There is a lead time that is involved between the time that you order the product and the time when it is being delivered to you. Then of course the reduced consumer search cost. Consumers browsing the website of the retailer and then finding a product where the search costs are very minimum. Why I am saying the search costs are very minimum? Because the consumers, all that they need to do is they need to search online, which may not consume much time for them, and they need not have to spend money towards their travel, and they need not have to spend anything extra. But that is not the case with buying products from offline stores, because physically you need to identify the location, then probably you have to make some effort and then reach out to the location of the store and make purchases. This involves some search cost for the consumers. Then lower distribution cost. As far as the online stores are concerned, the distribution costs are adequately low when compared to offline stores, because in offline stores you may have to route the products across your warehouses, distribution centers, or even your mediators. Thereby it actually has a higher share of distribution costs in the final price. And the shrunk geography of the market. Yes, if you have an offline store located at a particular point, probably it can cater to the target group in and around that particular location, which limits its geographic reach. But that is not the case with the virtual stores, because the virtual stores have no borders for their markets, and they can aim at even international markets for their products. Then there is a huge price difference sometimes we observe between the virtual stores and the real offline stores, because the tax structure is different, and as I told you, even the cost structure is different. And finally, the product availability. Sometimes the offline stores carry the latest products compared to the online stores. So in these cases, definitely there is some kind of difference. So if you look at it predominantly, these are all the differences one can observe when you are looking at both online as well as offline channels. And for certain products, it is considered to be a huge advantage. But products like high value products, or product that requires a testing or demonstration, obviously the offline channels are preferred by the consumers. And again, if you want to make a comparison between this online and offline business, in terms of definition, if you look at it, online business is nothing but the purchase and sale of goods via a digital platform such as an online website. We all know that. Whereas offline business is purchase and sale of goods via business outlets with one or few physical locations. So you may locate the store at a particular place and then you may try to use it. Then you have this customer reach and availability. We all know that online stores have no closure because they are operating 24/7. So wherever you are and whichever time zone that you belong to, it's not going to be a big deal for you to shop online. But that is not the case with offline, because it is limited. Every location has its own restrictions, and as a retailer you are supposed to follow it. Then with reference to setup and operation cost, absolutely it is very less in the online business space, whereas it is very high in offline business. In terms of feasibility to operate, it can be operated anywhere from the world. You can have your online store located in one corner of the globe, and still you can cater to the needs of consumers across. But that is not the case with offline business, because this can only be operated from the store, and maximum you can reach out to a particular limited or restricted radius in and around the store. And in terms of business expansion, yes, online business has the scope of getting expanded worldwide, but offline business can maximum reach out to the local consumers. Then, of course, when it is with reference to customer retention, online business, it is comparatively difficult. Why? Because the consumers are known by their customer ID, but that is not the case with offline business, because there it is easy for you to retain your loyal customers. And in terms of refund or return rate, it's really, in comparative terms, I would say that in online business it is more when it is compared to offline business, because the refund and return rates are growing for various reasons, obviously. Then multi-channel selling or marketing, if you look at it, you can sell on multiple sales channels. Like you have these online marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Walmart, anywhere. There are a lot of spaces that is available. But when it comes to offline business, sorry, you cannot sell on multiple stores. It again, as an FMCG product, you may sell it across various branded outlets. But if you are an exclusive brand, then probably you can restrict, or you will get restricted to sell the products only within the four walls of the store. Then, in terms of scalability, it takes very less time and effort for you to scale up an online business, but it takes really more time and effort to scale up an offline business, because you need to find a new location and you need to identify strategically that particular location, and again the setup costs are very high, initial investments are also going to be huge. The employee headcount, there are fewer employees needed to manage your online business, no doubt about that. Even these employees can work remotely and still manage the business in the best way possible. I'm very sorry that is not possible in an offline business, because you require more employees, at least adequate number of employees. The store should be staffed adequately so that they run the business. Then in terms of maintenance, less cost is required for maintaining your online business, because maintenance of website is relatively very less. It consumes less cost and investment. But offline business, the cost of infrastructure management is very high. And how can e-commerce affect the market outcomes? This is something which is a point to ponder, because it reduces the search and transaction costs, and customers will be able to find the lowest price. So as always we discuss in marketing, the price of the product is not the one actually you pay at the time of transaction. There are other costs which we call as the hidden costs, the search cost, the time cost, the psychological cost. There are so many, right? And these costs are nullified in an online business. So definitely the price point that you are looking at it relatively looks lesser in an online platform. And lowered market entry cost, all that you require is a sophisticated website design and adequate server space, and low operating costs, higher efficiency. So this is something which is very unique as far as these e-commerce business is concerned. Then traditional and physical store merchants are forced out of business, because if you don't get adequate customer footfall, then obviously your operation cost will go up and revenues will come down. And some industries would be disintermediated because of the e-commerce, because this is a place where different products can come together, and you can provide that kind of the options or choices to your consumers. Internet, it has created new venues as far as the multi-channel firms and supported a few pure play merchants. Today, being a pure play merchant, you cannot be more successful. And when you are looking at your multi-channel firm, they would also prefer to be in the e-commerce space, and that would again give them the scope to address the gap that exists by having only the physical stores and not having the online presence. And trends like showrooming and web rooming, we have discussed about these concepts earlier. Showrooming is something, you go and see the product, try the product in the showroom, but buy from the website. Web roaming, where you go and browse the product in the website but end up buying it from the store. These emerge as outcomes of online and offline shopping. So what is going to be the impact of e-commerce on the traditional retail business? Because now that there is a growing tendency among consumers to buy products online, and at the same time, there is also some group of consumers who prefer the traditional retail channels. But we cannot neglect the kind of impact these e-commerce portals have on the traditional retail business. If you look at it, yes, they are growing in terms of their sales volume, profitability. They are growing in terms of number of e-commerce options that have come up these days. So that increases the competition, obviously. Then, of course, there is changing consumer behavior. Thanks to the smartphones and other smart devices, today consumers are in a position to log into these websites and apps and try to make purchases. Then they are also comparing products between this online and offline. Even you and me, I'm sure at some point of time, when we go and buy a product in an offline store, immediately we check the price online, and then we sometimes even bargain with the store retailers that why don't you offer the product at this price, because it is available at this price online. Then changes in supply chain. Yes, today products are being sourced across destinations using different channels. And finally, there is also opportunity for the retailers to consolidate, integrate the experience across various channels. So this way, if you look at it, yes, e-commerce has become a very important form of retail business, and that is really putting a lot of pressure on the traditional retailers. Now the traditional retailers need to scale up their service or their way of doing business, because whatever the e-commerce offers to the consumers, over and above what else they can add in terms of value, is what they are supposed to focus on. So that way, this leads to a kind of a very competitive space between these two businesses. And there are several strategies for connecting online and offline channels. First one, to start with, you need to develop a cohesive brand identity. When I say cohesive brand identity, you need to definitely provide a combined kind of brand identity, because the way the brand is being identified in the online space and the offline space, there is a bit of difference. I won't say there is a huge difference. There is a bit of difference, because the way you are looking at it on screen and the way you are looking at the product when it is being displayed in a very attractive way inside the store. So you need to maintain a kind of consistency and try to provide a cohesive brand identity, no doubt about that. And in the next stage, you need to provide a seamless omni-channel experience. Time and again, we are talking about the consistency and continuity that you can have between different modes of your channels, and that is very much a part of your omni-channel strategy as well. Then the third one is you need to create online to offline incentives. Sometimes, you can create a code online which you can probably use for redemption in the store when you are making your next purchase. So this way, the consumer transition between this online and offline is also being guarded or being managed. Then you need to leverage the social media for offline engagement, because social media in the online space has evolved as one of the major promotion tools or advertising tool for you to reach out to your target group. So that way, how you are able to leverage the social media efforts to increase your footfalls in the into the online stores is again a very important strategic move by the retailers. And use of QR codes, near field communication technologies, which could probably add to the customer experiences, so that when you check into a mall, immediately when you are getting a pop-up message saying that in the first floor, in this particular shop number, you are awaiting a surprise, then probably you are more attracted towards that, right? So thereby you increase the footfalls. And offer in-store pickup options. Yes, sometimes what happens, you order the product online and the retailer provides you an option to pick the product from an offline store which is nearer to you. And when you visit the store for picking up the product, there is a probability that the retailer may try to cross-sell some of the other products along with the one which you have ordered. Actually, you have gone there only to pick up the product but end up buying more. Then, provide personalized recommendations. This is one unique feature that you have in the online space. Based on the history, your purchase history, there are a lot of recommendations that are being made for you to buy the product. This again serves as a kind of triggers for customers to buy more and more or more frequently, all that. And finally, use location based marketing, because every location has got its own unique set of consumer characteristics which you can probably leverage and harness with the help of technology. So this way, there are a lot of strategies which you can have to integrate or connect online as well as offline channels and try to deliver one of the best experiences to your consumers. Friends, I think today's discussion has thrown some interesting insights into what is in store for both online as well as offline retailers, and how from a retailer's perspective or a retail student's perspective, you can make a comparison between these two, and which are all those key differentiating factors that would probably help you in identifying which one would serve as the best bet as a consumer, because it again depends on the product related factor, price related factor, promotion related factor, or even delivery related factors. It could be anything. So that way, understanding this particular competitive environment between both online as well as offline retailers will make you really understand why we need to focus on these two simultaneously, parallelly, so that you will be able to achieve the best of competitive edge over your other players in the market. If you got it, yes, that's the objective of this particular session, to create that kind of an idea or introduction about this particular scenario. Thank you very much for joining. I will meet you in the next session. Till then, bye bye.